In the middle of a harsh winter, when the sky was gray and heavy snow covered the land, a small wooden cabin stood quietly at the edge of the mountains. In that cabin lived an elderly woman in her 70s. Her life was simple and peaceful. Each day passed with the crackling sound of firewood in the fireplace, the wind howling outside the window, and sometimes the distant wings of birds crossing the cold sky. That day, the snow was falling harder than usual. Thick flakes kept drifting down, slowly burying the narrow path that led to her home. When the old woman opened the door to gather more firewood, a faint sound suddenly reached her ears. It wasn't the wind, and it wasn't the sound of branches breaking. It sounded like a tiny cry, trembling and weak, almost desperate. She stopped and listened carefully. The sound came again, very faint, from a bush nearby. The elderly woman slowly walked through the deep snow, her legs shaking slightly from the cold. When she gently pushed aside the snow-covered branches, she suddenly froze in place.
There you go,
In
my
front of
beautiful
her lay
friend.
a large eagle,
You
motionless
are
on the
safe
ground.
and warm
Its wide
now.
wings were covered with ice and snow, and its body looked nearly frozen. But what touched her heart the most was what she saw beneath its wing. A tiny baby eagle was hiding there. The little chick was trembling, its small eyes wide with fear and cold.
Spirit of
It
the
kept
sky,
pressing closer into its
accept
mother's
this
feathers,
smoke.
as if it knew that
Be
was the
whole
only
again
warmth left in
and
the
fly
freezing world.
free.
The old woman knelt down.
Little
The mother eagle barely had the strength to move, yet even in that exhausted state, it tried to open its dull eyes and slightly lift its wing, as if it was still trying to protect its baby. That moment tightened the old
Don't
woman's
worry,
heart.
I will keep
She
you
understood
warm.
that this eagle
You are
had used
safe
its own
here
body
with
to
me.
shield its baby from the deadly winter cold.
Sleep now,
Without
little
wasting
one.
another second,
The
she
wind
removed
is
her
cold
thick coat and
outside,
gently wrapped
but
both
here
mother
you
and
are
chick inside
safe.
her. Carefully, as if carrying a fragile child, she brought them into her small cabin. Inside, the fire in the fireplace was burning warmly. She placed the mother eagle near the fire and slowly wiped the ice from its wings with a warm cloth. The baby chick was placed in a small basket lined with soft fabric. The first few minutes passed in silence. The old woman worried deeply,
Oh,
unsure if the
spirit
eagle
of
could
the
survive.
sky,
Its body was so cold it
receive
barely
this
seemed
warmth.
alive. But then, something small happened. One of its wings trembled slightly. A weak breath escaped from its beak. The old
You
woman
are so
smiled with relief.
beautiful, my little
Over the
friend.
next several hours, she patiently
Rest now,
cared for
you
them.
are
She
safe.
warmed water and gently dropped small amounts into the eagle's beak. She tore tiny pieces of meat for the chick to eat. That night, she did not sleep. She sat quietly beside the fireplace, watching the two fragile lives fighting to survive. The next morning, the pale winter sunlight slipped through the window. When the old woman walked closer, the mother eagle seemed more awake. Its sharp eyes slowly looked around the room. For a moment, the two of them looked directly at each other. There was no aggression, no wild fury, only caution, something that almost felt like understanding. The eagle seemed to realize that the fragile old woman standing before it had saved both its life and its baby. In the following days, the eagle slowly recovered. Its powerful wings began to move again. The baby chick became livelier each day, its bright eyes curious about the world around it. The small cabin that had once been silent was now filled with new sounds. The soft flapping of wings, the tiny chirps of the chick, and the gentle footsteps of the old woman bringing food. A strange bond slowly formed. Whenever the woman entered the room, the mother eagle no longer acted defensively.
Come here, little
It
one.
simply watched quietly,
You are
as if it had
safe,
accepted her presence. The chick
one.
even hopped playfully near her feet, flapping its small wings. Time passed quickly. Eventually, the day the old woman knew would come had finally arrived. The mother eagle was strong enough to fly again. That morning, she opened the door of the cabin. The winter sky was clear for the first time after many stormy days. The eagle stood at the doorway, spreading its wide wings. It turned its head to look at its baby, then at the old woman. For a brief moment, all three of them stood there in silence. The old woman gently nodded and whispered, "It's time." The eagle spread its wings. With one powerful flap, it rose into the sky, circling above the wide open air. The baby chick stood at the doorway, chirping softly. But then, something unexpected happened. The mother eagle did not disappear into the distance. Instead, it lowered its circle and came back. This time, it landed near the old woman. It did not attack, it did not show fear. It simply stood there, looking at her. Then, slowly lowered its head, a gesture rarely seen from a wild creature. After a few seconds, it spread its wings again and soared high into the sky, disappearing beyond the distant mountains.
Don't
The
be
old woman
afraid, my
believed
beauty.
that would be
Come
the
eat the
last
seeds.
time she ever saw it. But a few days later, when she opened her door in the morning, she was surprised to find something on her doorstep. It was a large, fresh fish. She looked up into the sky. Far away, a familiar eagle was gliding in the wind. The next day, it happened again.
There
This
you
time,
go,
a
good
small
bird.
rabbit lay at the door. In the days that followed,
warm
the
now in
eagle
your new
continued
coat.
to visit from time to time. It never stayed too close for long, but every time it came, it left behind a small gift, as if it had its own way of saying thank you. The old
ice
woman often
accepts
stood
the
at the
warmth.
doorway, looking up at the
Soon
vast
it will be
sky.
strong enough to walk
Whenever
on.
she saw those familiar wings
ice is
passing
slick,
through the
but
clouds,
you are strong.
she would quietly smile.
Come
In
on
the
now, you
harsh
can walk
world
on the
of the
ice.
wild, where survival is the strongest instinct, one small act of kindness created a bond no one could have imagined. A human, an eagle, and a story that reminds us that sometimes kindness does more than save a life. It creates a quiet miracle that even nature rarely reveals. And somewhere in that winter sky, the eagle still flies, as if it has never forgotten the small wooden cabin and the woman who once saved its life.